Howdy, guys, and welcome to night 15 of Big Brother season 23. And welcome to Cliff Notes from outside the Big Brother house. All right, we're less than 24 hours before the Thursday night eviction occurs, and we finally have seen a little bit of campaigning going on. Again, this evening, we're going to see, theoretically, we're going to see either Brittany or Frenchie heading home. The reality is already written on the wall. It's going to be Frenchie heading out. Probably a 10-2, maybe an 11-1 vote. Depends on what Azah does with her vote. But Frenchie is going home this evening. But we still have a little campaigning going on. And we certainly have a lot of conversations tonight about who people want to win the next HOH, who the targets are. So with that in mind, let's get right into it. Now, first of all, let's talk about a couple of things. First of all, we've got Frenchie. I mentioned campaigning. Frenchie's kind of hot and cold in campaigning. He's kind of making jokes about it a few times, but he also is trying to get some last minute feelers out there. He's telling Brent, saying, look, man, I made a mistake. I owned up to it. They have a big bro hug. And Frenchie, I think, really believes that he's got Brent's vote. He doesn't. Brent is not voting for Frenchie. Brent is going to vote to keep Brittany in the house. But Frenchie doesn't know that. Alyssa is talking to Frenchie, and Frenchie is saying, he's trying to say, look, I only did what all the other people on my team wanted to do. It wasn't me. It was just all these other people, Alyssa. And she's saying, look, I get it and everything, but I don't want to vote against the house. But Frenchie, if you get enough votes, come back and see me. After that, Frenchie's kind of excited about her comments. I guess the fact that she didn't just outright say no. But Frenchie's excited. He tells the camera, says, I just might be able to do this. No. Here's the thing. When someone tells you that you need to come back and see him if you can get the votes, that's just the ultimate Big Brother brush off. That's what you tell someone when you don't want to tell them to your face that there's not a chance in heck that I would ever vote to keep you in the house, which is basically what we have here. So now Frenchie's a little excited, thinking maybe there's a little small opportunity. No, it isn't going to happen. If it does, then we're going to have quite the show to talk about tomorrow. It's not going to happen. All right, now I don't want to bury the lead, and the big lead. I think the big lead this evening, 2 new alliances have formed. Yes, indeed. We hadn't had alliance form in 24 hours or so, and so we were way behind. 2 new alliances have formed. One of them is a combination of Team Queens and Team Aces. They joined together. We'll talk about the conversation a little bit later, but they joined together. They're now calling themselves the Mafia. So there you go. Team Queens, Team Aces, calling themselves a Mafia. But immediately after that meeting, Team Queens, who is Claire, Kylan, and Tiffany, Team Queens immediately leaves Team Aces, goes down and meets with Team Kings. Man, all these cards and all. So Team Queens says, "Yeah, we got alliance with you, Team Aces." They immediately then go and visit with Team Kings and say, "Hey, Team Aces just wanted to join with us, just so you know." But the reality is, we want to join with y'all guys instead. And so now we've got the Mafia of Team Queens and Team Aces, but a much more serious, I think, alliance between the Team Queens and the Team Kings, and adding Derek in just for good measure. And they're calling themselves the Royal Family. And they tried to give themselves the title Sirs and Queens and things like that. At one point I heard Queen Tiffany. I would be very careful about any alliance that has titles for different people, especially if one is queen and one is prince or serf or whatever. Just sounds too much like you may be throwing out some pecking orders when it comes down right to it. And I guarantee people are paying attention. But there you go. So 2 new alliances. Team Mafia, kind of maybe serious for some people, not so much for others. And then the real one, the Royal Family, which again is Team Queens and Team Kings coming together. You notice jokers are being left out of all of this. So Brittany and Azah and Derek F. maybe need to be a little bit careful. Now, here's the other group that needs to be careful. When Team Queens went down with Team Kings, they immediately, as I said, they said, oh, look, Team Aces just wanted to join with us. Well, once they formed that second alliance of Royal Family, they said, well, now we've got reasons to go after the Team Aces as well, because they wanted to form up. And so Team Aces, Team Jokers, kind of on the short end right now, and those guys better be a little bit careful. All right, so those are the alliances. Now let's talk about some conversations that occurred. We had Derek F upstairs in the chess room, the poker lounge. I still don't know what we call it. Derek F upstairs talking to Claire. He's telling her, saying, man, Claire, the good thing about teams is it's kind of forced us to work with those little groups as opposed to forming a lot of alliances and everything. And Derek F says, I haven't formed any alliances. I don't have any final twos, any final three deals at all, except for the final two with Christian, with Kylan, with Frenchie, and except for the Slaughterhouse Alliance and the Cookout. Now, obviously, Derek F didn't mention all of those. That's coming from Old Boss Hog. But yeah, Derek F, he's doing what you do in Big Brother. Develop as many relationships as you can, and then you keep them all quiet. Don't say a word to anyone about them. So we do have that conversation taking place. While up there, though, Derek F notices that Claire has taken one of those puzzles they have up in that upstairs lounge, and she has put it back together, and he's impressed. I think no one has solved these puzzles in a while. He asked her about it, and she says, yeah, Christian figured it out and showed me how to do it. Well, Derek F immediately replies and says, well, now we know that Christian is going to be good at puzzle solving. Here's the thing. There's nothing that goes unnoticed in that Big Brother house. Christian showing Claire, just having fun, trying to pass the time. And yet Derek F is taking that information, and just one little thing to keep in mind on down the road, if you're having to decide between Christian and someone else and you're expecting puzzle mental comps to come up, everything gets noticed in there. We've got some campaign. Again, Frenchie tried to do some campaigning. Brittany, much more serious about her campaigning. I think she knows that she's staying, but she still wants to campaign. She's very focused on it. She's campaigning to Kylan, and she mentions the Girls Alliance. She says, look, if it exists, I'm not part of it. Well, other than the Kingslayers Girls Alliance, which is her, Tiffany, Azah, and Claire, and Frenchie's Kisses, which she was kind of a part of as well. But it's really Frenchie's Kisses more that she's talking about when she says that. Kylan is questioning her about the French Kisses, and she's saying, look, Frenchie apparently put this group together and said that he probably wanted to drag me in as well because he trusted me and all that, but I wasn't even there when Frenchie's Kisses were formed, Kylan, which is true. Brittany wasn't part of the original group, but she's gotten drug along because of or drug along and lumped in with it just because Frenchie wanted to make her part of it. Brittany is really kind of hung up on the Girls Alliance and trying to get rid of any rumors that she was a founder or a big part of it or anything else. So again, Brittany's telling Kylan, saying, nah, I didn't have anything to do with it. They just threw my name in there. So soon after this conversation, we have Brittany campaigning to Tiffany in the yacht room. And she's saying, look, Tiffany, the rest of Team Aces, which is Derek X, Whitney, and Hannah, she says, those guys want Brent gone so bad that they're going to throw the HOH tomorrow on the HOH competition. They're going to throw it just because if any of them win the HOH, then Brent is safe as well. And rather than have that, they're going to throw the competition because they want Brent gone. Well, Brent doesn't have a whole lot of support from his teammates, does he? Brittany then goes on to talk to Tiffany again about the Girls Alliance and when Frenchie's Kiss is formed, saying, I wasn't part of it. My name was just thrown in there. But she's worried that Alyssa, what Alyssa's going to think about Brittany if Brittany was part of this Girls Alliance and Alyssa wasn't. So she's saying, I need to clear this up with Alyssa. But Tiffany's saying, nah, look, don't worry about it. It was a fake alliance. Everyone knows it was a fake alliance. Everyone knows that Frenchie just did it to try to protect himself. Alyssa is not going to hold it against you. Don't worry about it. Don't keep bringing it up because it's not going to help you out. So we'll see. Brittany doesn't always listen. She gets very focused on an idea. And so she'll end up talking to Alyssa in a little bit about it anyway. Tiffany is very curious about Whitney and who Whitney would put up if she won the HOH. So she's asking Brittany, so assuming there's a little tightness between the two of them and saying, hey, who would Whitney put up? Brittany says, I don't know, but I do know that Whitney called Brent a sexist. So maybe she'd go after Brent as well, even though they may be a little tight. Now, Brent has been going on and on saying that he and Whitney just don't get along with each other. They're always after each other, at each other. Is that true, or is he kind of playing that up a little bit to make it not look like they have as much of a connection as otherwise people may assume? I don't know. Maybe a little of each. Tiffany finishes up this conversation by talking to Brittany on how to talk to Whitney, how to talk to Christian. She says, when you talk to Whitney, she's a mom, so talk to her about her kids and about that kind of stuff as well. After Brittany leaves, Tiffany looks at the camera and says, America, pray for my brain because it's had to do thinking for a whole lot of different people. Tiffany definitely knows how to kind of manipulate and talk to people and everything else. So she's playing a great job. She just needs to be careful that she doesn't overplay it somewhere a little bit further down the road. We do then have Brittany campaigning to Sarah Beth. Sarah Beth is saying that Brent will target Azza or Claire, or Brittany, is my opinion as well. But Sarah's saying he'll target Azza or Claire, and he really needs to go. So again, we've got one more person that's on board on getting Brent out the following week. I mentioned before that Frenchie probably is going to go home with either a 10-2 or 11-1 vote, depending upon Azza. I forgot that Azza actually tells Frenchie at one point that Brittany has her vote, that she felt for Brittany, that Brittany supported her, and she just can't not vote for Brittany to stay. So 11-1 is probably what we're looking at. Derek F will probably be the one vote to save Frenchie, unless someone throws in a hinky vote here or there. We have another conversation. Hannah and Claire are talking in the storage room. Both of them want Brent and Alyssa on the block, as was discussed a couple of days ago. So that hasn't changed. Brent, target number one. Alyssa, they're happy to see her go as well. We've got Team Queens, which is Tiffany, Claire, Kylan in the HOH room. Tiffany is saying she wants Brent out next. Tiffany is all aboard on get Brent out as quickly as possible train. And she says that Whitney is maybe the only person in the house who would oppose sending Brent out the door. I think she's probably right. Brent just doesn't have a whole lot of supporters right now. Sinking ships and rats, something like that. She says that Brent wants Claire out, which in fact affects their entire team. Yet another reason to send Brent out the door. But Kylan is a little bit worried about the idea that, okay, Travis went out, Frenchie goes out. Now, if Brent goes out as well, that's three guys going out first. But Claire tries to calm him down, saying, look, I don't think all the women are going to work together at the end. And she mentions Alyssa and Whitney as two girls that just aren't going to work with the rest of them. That may be true, but I think Kylan is justified to be a little concerned if you suddenly have 8 women and 5 guys inside the house. You don't have to have all the women working together. You just have to have most of them, and you still have a lot of control in the house. So he's a little bit worried. He may be thinking a little bit about that when it comes to Brent versus, say, an Alyssa in the house and how the votes may go. So we'll see what happens next week. So we'll see. And yes, Brent does represent a threat to the team Queens if he's targeting Claire, which could be the case. But teams only last for another couple of weeks, and then we're going to see that thing go away. At that point, I don't know if the teams will still stay strong working together, or we'll see everyone kind of dissolve and go into other types of alliances. Don't know yet. All right, another conversation. Brittany, as I said, Brittany didn't really listen to advice. She went and talked to Alyssa and Christian about her lack of involvement in a girls' alliance. And later she recounts that conversation with Azza as well and says that, Alyssa's jaw dropped when she told her that. And again, Brittany wants to make sure no one thinks that she had anything to do with the formation of that girls' alliance. We've got Claire, Hannah, and Tiffany talking. They're saying that Team Aces, which is Hannah, Derek X, and Whitney, that they would love to work with Team Queens. And this is kind of the formation. This was later formalized as that new Mafia alliance that I mentioned earlier. So this is where the roots started with Claire, Hannah, and Tiffany talking. But afterwards, Tiffany and Claire are then talking to Derek X, and now we've got the formation of that other alliance, the royal family. So again, the two big alliances formed, but the Mafia, the royal family, maybe a little tighter with each other. Claire, now I thought this was interesting. This isn't really strategic talk, just something I thought was interesting. Claire says she was going to go use the HOH shower for the first time. She hadn't used it yet, but she was going to use it. And Alyssa says, now, I'm not using that shower until I win an HOH and I deserve it. There you go, Alyssa. That's exactly what I did. I refused. I felt like I was going to jinx myself if I used it before I won HOH. So I waited till day 30 when I won HOH, and then the shower was that much more glorious. So there you go. Just a little personal observation in there. All right, we have Derek cooking in preparation for the Have-Nots. Have-Nots ended last night at midnight, so Derek cooked up a big meal of steak and everything else, and apparently pretty good eating. Derek X did say how hard it was to cook and not be able to taste anything because until midnight, he was a have-not. So we've got that. All right, now one little mention, again, not a lot of strategic talk, but I'm not going to have many more chances to talk about Frenchie. So I just wanted to throw this in at one point. Frenchie is talking and wondering if the Dr. Pepper has been restocked in the storage room yet. He's wanting some more Dr. Pepper. Probably not, Frenchie. As I recall, restocking the storage room took place Thursday nights, Friday morning. So Frenchie may have to go the next 24, not even that much, next 12 hours or so without his Dr. Pepper. But I have a feeling he'll get some once he gets out of the house. All right, another conversation. Christian and Hannah are talking. Hannah is saying that she isn't sure if she'll stick with her team after the team twist ends. Again, I'm not sure how loyal these teams really will be when you don't have the extra twist of you're safe if one of your teammates wins HOH. So she's saying, I'm not sure how it's going to end, and I really think showmances may become a bigger target once the team twist is over. So she's telling Christian that he and Alyssa better tone it back, settle it down, and not look too obvious. Christian is wondering if he should just go ahead and end the relationship with Alyssa and just pick it up after they're outside the house, if potentially he's creating a target by continuing the relationship. I know which way I'm betting if you ask if that's going to happen or not. There ain't a chance in the world. This no-man's showmance is bound to happen and continue until one of them gets sent out the door, I do believe. Our conversation between Kylan, Whitney, and Hannah in the HOH room. Lots of talk about Brent again. Whitney and Hannah are both agreeing that Brent's top 3 targets are Brittany, Claire, and Azah. Kylan is saying his top 3 targets are Brent, Whitney, and Brittany. Brent, Whitney, and Brittany. Brittany's getting mentioned by a whole lot of people on different sides. I think she runs a risk of being a perpetual pawn, but also people may not have a huge deal if she ends up getting sent home one of these days when that pawn becomes something a little bit more akin to a target. So Brittany better be a little careful. But we do have them talking about top 3 targets. Everyone's thinking now about HOH and where they want to go with this next week's nominations. Meanwhile, while Kylan, Whitney, and Hannah are up there talking about Brent and everything, Brent is downstairs talking to Derek X. And he's saying that, look, I want Hannah or Whitney to win HOH because that makes me safe since we're on the same team. Or if that doesn't happen, then Sarah Beth or Alyssa, I want one of them to win because I think I'd be safe with them. We'll see. Brent is saying that with Derek X, they have 11 people aligned with him, with them, and so they should be good to go. Well, not so much. Brent's not counting on all of his teammates, all more than happy to throw the HOH just to get him out the door. Brent doesn't have nearly the support that he thinks he does. He does say, he and Derek agree that if it is an endurance HOH of any sort, that the main thing they need to do is outlast the Joker's team and Christian, because Brent views those as his big threats. Another quick little comment. Brent is talking kind of to the cameras, just out loud, saying, check out my Instagram profile. And I wonder what's trending on Twitter right now. He's doing that while the people upstairs are talking about him as the big target for the upcoming week. Brent's way more confident than he needs to be, and he may pay the price 7 days from now. Veto's going to be very important for Brent. He can't play in the wild card competition. He played last week, so he's done with that. His only chance at being safe is if one of his teammates wins HOH, which they've said they're going to throw, or if he wins the veto. Going to be important Saturday morning for Brent, I do believe. And then finally, we've got Hannah telling Brent good night and saying that he is one of the most intelligent guys in the house. She can tell just by the way he talks that he is incredibly intelligent. Hannah knows how to handle Brent. She knows how to talk to him, how to stroke his ego, and Brent just eats it all up. You better be careful. All right, there you go, guys. A whole lot of conversations, 2 new alliances. I do think Frenchie goes home this evening, as I mentioned. A new HOH winner. I don't know if we'll see it on the live feeds tonight or it'll happen overnight. I don't know. We'll find out. But everything's going to start afresh tomorrow, this evening, and it's going to be, I think, a little bit more chaos. We'll see. Depends on who wins HOH. Guys, y'all have a fantastic Thursday. Enjoy the live episode tonight. I will see y'all tomorrow morning. SKD 143. Cheers, my friends. Bye.